The Psychology Fraud in General. Chapter 1. The Psychology Fraud in General. The Psychology Fraud 1. Let's go back to the beginning of human history for a minute. Zecharia Sitchin's explanation of the creation of the human race in his 1976 book The 12th Planet that he supposedly gleaned from translating ancient Sumerian cuneiform tablets is about space travelers called the Anunnaki who genetically created the human race to provide them with worker servants. The Sumerians were the first humans, then the Egyptians came on the scene as rulers of the world. They had pharaohs and Pharisees, people who proclaimed themselves as wise, superior beings who knew better than everybody about life, so they led and controlled the people. Fast forward to now. People are still controlling people, only now they are more subtle about it. They pretend they have scientific experts for everything: life, health, medicine, science, etc. How much of it is a lie? I have no problem with a doctor sewing me up in an emergency room after I've been in an accident, but the idea of the doctor in a white lab coat solving any ailment I might have with a pill or injection is an indoctrinated idea. It didn't exist 100 years ago. Now doctors are prescribing all kinds of pills for our ailments, while Hippocrates, the father of medicine, said a part of the art of medicine lies in entertaining the patient while nature cures him or her. Let's talk about psychology, psychiatry, mental illness, and mental health. A person goes to college and takes a bunch of unrelated courses in the field called psychology. Then after several years, they get a license and supposedly have some kind of insight into human life, but all they did was took a bunch of courses that provided trivial little bits of knowledge about this or that in life, which in the end did not give these people true insight into human behavior. But our society has been brainwashed to think we have experts in human life called psychologists, psychiatrists, and mental health professionals. I figured out the truth about all knowledge about human life. We're all loners. No human knows what any other human is thinking. Because of this fact alone, you can't have a science of human behavior. The great insight of human life is: I am who I am in my own purity, the way I was born. All I have to do is follow the laws. Beyond that, I don't owe anybody anything. Any ideas other humans have about life might be mildly inspirational, like Benjamin Franklin's 13 Virtues or Dante Alighieri's 7 Deadly Sins, but most ideas about life are a tool of control by phony experts pretending they know something more about life than normal people because they studied some bullshit in college called psychology. I liken it to the line out of Rudyard Kipling's poem if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. Look at the idea of monogamy for a minute. All my life as a kid, society told me that I will be a monogamous man. The path to happiness is to find one woman to be with for life. When I hit sexual maturity, I was attracted to any attractive female I came across. The entire structure of society is a massive indoctrinated ideal. The industries of psychology, psychiatry, and mental health are a part of this massive brainwash. They got 99% of the people fooled into thinking that they're wise people with some great insights into life. When you start thinking for yourself away from the brainwash of the world, you become enlightened. All enlightened people are alike. They think for themselves. They don't buy bullshit in any form, anywhere, anytime. You are spirit. That's it. Honor it by discovering your true nature away from society's brainwash, then live by it by releasing most of that natural energy you feel within yourself to match this inner standard given by God, as opposed to being either a capitalist clone of ambition following those artificial values or being a lazy bum, not doing much of anything. The Psychology Fraud 2. There are 5 main things in life. You buy yourself. How you relate to people in general. Your search for an intimate partner and relationship in romantic love. You with animals and nature. You and God. All enlightened people know that everyone is a loner. The best you can do in life is to discover your true nature away from the world's matrix of control, then have the guts and the smarts to earn enough money to live by it. As far as dealing with people goes, try to be like Jesus was, be loving or at least act neutral. Be superficially polite to avoid conflict. As far as helping people goes, the best you can do is try to communicate with whoever you're with right here, right now. No mental illness or learning disability labels, none of those other psychobabble lies, just two people trying for a human connection. After that comes romantic love and sex, which we were lied about all our lives. Men are not biologically predisposed to be monogamous. Love is a mental illness to people who have lived through the experience several times. The love hormones wear off. I cover this in my love and sex books, not here. My identity was in me when I was born. I thank my parents and teachers for trying to raise me to be a good, decent person, but, ultimately, I freed myself from everything, discovered my own purity, and now live freely away from everything I was ever indoctrinated by. I realized I had a pure soul given by God, a natural intuitive standard of who I am and how I should live, brainwashed by none. That's it. No need for self-help BS, success podcasts, psychobabble, motivation seminars, a life coach, psychotherapy, or anything else from the world's fake knowledge telling me crap about life. It's a scam no different from witch doctors, kings, pharaohs, priests, and politicians who all try to control people by pretending they have some advanced knowledge that you don't have. They never address the human spirit, which is all anyone is, the spirit they feel within themselves. The mental health industry started with locking people up, then they gave them lobotomies and shock treatments. They tried the Freudian lie about doing psychoanalysis, which is to probe a person's past to find something hidden or repressed that supposedly screwed them up, then expose it to free the patient from it, but that didn't work. Their model is now about getting someone hooked on one or several mental health drugs. The psychiatrist or psychologist gets paid every week or month to see the patient for a few minutes to write a prescription. They keep giving different mental health drugs to people, each with bad side effects, until the patient says the drug makes them feel good. There are studies that have concluded that entry into the mental health system makes a person worse off. If you say that the problem is one of spirit, that the person has a weak spirit, everyone goes nuts. This goes against the mental health model. You can't see the spirit. It can't be measured scientifically. At the same time, we live in a massive wimp victim culture where millions of wimps want to be diagnosed with a mental illness because it's a convenient excuse so they don't have to blame their pathetic selves as human beings on their weaknesses as people. The Psychology Fraud 3. They brainwashed me as a kid when I watched those TV shows and saw Marcus Welby MD, tell the guy you have nothing medically wrong with you. Your problem is psychosomatic. Perhaps you would be better served going to a psychiatrist. I saw some horror movie with some hypnotic type evil character psychoanalyzing some young woman, telling her how sexually repressed she was, and she fell for it, believing he knew her innermost secrets. As a kid, I thought he's got some advanced knowledge as a psychiatrist, but now I know he's just a 2-bit con artist. I wanted to find truth in life, which is why I studied psychology as a young man. Then after taking X number of disjointed courses that had no smoking gun or underlying main theory behind them that cracked the code into human behavior, I figured it out on my own. I am who I am by nature. I feel good by releasing the natural energy inside of me to match my inner standard day after day. That's it. I don't care about any of the other bullshit from the world. Out of these modern-day psychotherapists, psychiatrists, counselors, etc., some are good people who try to help others by being personable with them in a stand-up way, but many are fakes, pretending they know some deep knowledge about the human condition, sucking people in over countless therapy sessions by getting them to repeatedly talk about their pasts, when the truth is that they should tell them to get over their petty selves, get a life and do something active, or keep being a sorry-ass wimp. They implant this idea into us that there are these official fields called psychology, psychiatry, philosophy, sociology, etc., as scientific as the medical field, where phony experts pretend to know deep, profound insights about human life, but all they did was take a bunch of discrete, unrelated courses that don't provide any unified understanding of life. They know nothing but the phony theories and lies they were brainwashed by, which are not insight, because human insight is only one thing. Everybody has a purity. They either recognize this and live by it or succumb to the world's indoctrinating system, which is artificial next to one's purity and causes disharmony. The only way for anyone to figure themselves out is to experience life, then constantly contemplate their thoughts and actions. The human race is mostly brainwashed, living in a matrix except for a few enlightened people. I live a good life for myself and try to ignore the world for its idiocy. The Psychology Fraud 4. Enlightenment is when you know the human race is flawed, there is nothing you can do about it, so your best bet is to try to live a good life for yourself while staying away from the capitalist pop culture religious formal schooling matrix as much as you can. Enlightenment is living by your pure thoughts. Everything else is a person brainwashed by some of the world's fake knowledge. Everyone is a primal divine spirit, just like early man was before all this junk called philosophy or life knowledge was created. I live by what my spiritual essence tells me to do. It's like George Orwell's novel 1984, where the Ministry of Truth is creating lies. They can create a mental illness out of any human behavior or emotion. If you're too happy, you're manic. If you feel mundane, which is the normal state of consciousness for most people because they don't do intense, inspired activities, they call it depression. If you exercise too much, that's a mental illness. Some guy said it was the opposite of anorexia nervosa. They now have something called body dysmorphic disorder for athletes who feel like they're withering away if they don't exercise. Some nerd is telling a bunch of tough guys that they're messed up because he thinks he's so intelligent. It's arrogance to presume to know better than somebody about their lives. I stopped giving unsolicited advice a long time ago. Nobody wants it. We're all creatures of ego. There's a mental illness for free thinkers who chose not to believe what the mainstream society says. It's a mix of oppositional defiant disorder and narcissistic personality disorder. They say conspiracy theorists see patterns where there are none. That's a mental illness. You're a paranoid psychopathic psychotic. The mental health industry is a tragedy because so many weak people who do not want to be responsible for their lives buy into it and use their mental illness diagnoses as a justification for their weak lives. It's a money racket. These fields are a big fiction to make money off people by fooling them into thinking that phony advanced, profound system-sanctioned experts have wisdom about how any person lives in the privacy of their minds. The Psychology Fraud 5. Enlightenment starts when you see that there are lies about everything, so what's left is you alone. Think purely and freely by listening to your true nature. Avoid as much stuff as you can from the matrix or the mainstream system pushing its agenda on you. Every once in a while, the TV networks come out with the next show on the latest developments in life, love, and sex. There are always a few phonies with letters after their names saying they've done extensive research and discovered this or that, but you cannot apply the scientific method to study human beings because every human being is a loner stuck in their own heads. Not one human being knows what is going on in the mind of another. Until we develop telepathy, we will all be a bunch of loners. It's pure arrogance and or stupidity for anyone to pretend to study humans and come up with theories on how they live. There are almost 10,000 four-year colleges and universities in the world. They're all teaching the same social science garbage, which is fake knowledge. It's a crime. The mental health industry has brainwashed almost the entire human race into thinking that their phony experts are real scientists with advanced knowledge and wisdom about how people live. The universities keep making money teaching this junk masquerading as knowledge or wisdom about life. They're touting mental health to the point where it almost seems fashionable to have a therapist who is a phony expert who sees you once a week for $100, you talk for a few minutes, then get your prescription for mental health drugs, some of which have been accused of causing delusions, whereupon people have done evil things under the influence of these drugs, but it's all hushed up because it's a multi-billion-dollar business. Find your own purity given by God when you were born. Beyond that, don't listen too much to all the BS out there about life. The Psychology Fraud 6. I've read a lot of so-called scientific articles on love, sex, and life in the many academic journals out there. You can't get much better than the common sense in some ancient books like the Book of Proverbs, the book of Ecclesiastes and Ovid's Art of Love from 2000 years ago, yet they keep pretending they're coming up with great new advanced scientific discoveries in life, love, and sex. I scan the Microsoft Edge news browser regularly. I see all the headlines for clickbait, fake cute articles about the latest research on how to live a better life. The wisest people are the ones who tap into their true natures given by God/nature at birth and don't buy into other people's junk about life. What they should teach people in the social sciences at college is to get out from under the matrix that has been brainwashing you since you had first consciousness to think your own thoughts purely away from other people's junk. They got about 100 different majors under the umbrella of social sciences, all supposed to teach you about life from other people's bullshit. Why don't they say think for yourself about your life away from the brainwash of the world? Jack Kerouac, the guy who wrote On the Road, drank himself to death by 47 for some reason. He seemed tortured or lost in some way. He said one profound thing that summarizes human life. Nobody knows nothing 'bout nothing except for aging. That should be enough to keep all the smug fake intellectuals and know-it-alls humble, but it won't, because Dante wisely said pride, aka arrogance, vanity, ego, and narcissism is the first of the 7 deadly sins. People have to hold onto their little egos out in the world, even if they realize that all this stuff I was studying about life in college is a bunch of other people's bullshit next to my purity as an individual loner human being. The problem with fake knowledge about life in the world right now is that it's an overwhelming matrix, like the old-time shaman in the village or the pharaoh of Egypt. They branded themselves as the wise, superior leader. Almost everybody bought into it. Nobody questioned it. I studied ancient history on my own to discover where we came from, and I studied the history of education. It's about one thing: people controlling other people, usually through massive indoctrination over pure force. It's much easier to indoctrinate everyone at a young age. That's why the Prussians, modern-day Germans, were the dominant country in Europe, because they figured out that if you offer free public education, you get to indoctrinate people for life. I go the Apostate Prophet YouTube channel and watch this ex-Muslim talk about how powerful Islam is in indoctrinating about 1 billion people. The science of psychology is the same way. It doesn't matter that the American Psychological Association has 56 subfields with at least 1,000 academic psychology journals out there. It's still all bullshit. Keep piling the bullshit on to grow this fake field in the capitalist model. 1 billion bits of knowledge with no great unifying insight is a big fat zero towards enlightenment, just a bunch of stupid experiments that all end with this could, might, or tend to cause that in this situation. The Psychology Fraud 7. I studied psychology as a naive young man looking for truth and enlightenment in life. I believed in the system. I liked grade school. I was good at it. I believed the box of knowledge they taught me. I believed it when they said the smartest, coolest people go to college. I did not yet understand that the smartest, coolest people think for themselves, do what they want, and are wise enough to proceed on an adventure of their own choosing, to not blindly follow the system's formula of a successful life. They are not bound by other people's ideas about life, most of which are BS or biased knowledge with a selfish ulterior motive. I went to college, studied the social sciences looking for the big insight. When was I going to get enough knowledge from all the courses I took to put me at a level of true wisdom? It never happened. You can keep taking college courses in the liberal arts until you're blue in the face. It's all a bunch of minor, trivial to meaningless bits of knowledge that all together mean nothing. Wisdom or enlightenment about life do not come from amassing a quantitative load of knowledge from books and college courses. It's a qualitative spiritual leap that comes from one thing only. That moment you finally realize that you are a separate entity with your own purity, away from everything you have ever been brainwashed by since you had first consciousness at about 4 years old. I had that realization then. I was free from the world with all its bullshit except for my need to earn a living. The Psychology Fraud 8. This matrix of mainstream official knowledge we live in is so massive that almost nobody thinks freely outside of this box. I can't buy into the brainwash. I see life as the detached, independent loner I am. I know everyone is a loner in their minds. Nobody can know what anyone else is thinking. Because of this one fact alone, you cannot have a science of human behavior. Everything is transient. You can feel down now, then tonight feel good. Saddam Hussein was down when Western forces were advancing on Baghdad. As soon as he heard they abandoned the march on Baghdad, he went right back to being a dictator. His entire being changed in a minute. They created this matrix of mental illnesses originally as good people out to help their fellow man, but it quickly went to the profit motive. It's about making money. A lot of people don't want to take responsibility for their lives, so they want to be diagnosed with a mental illness to avoid confronting the fact that they're losers and wimps. The mental health professionals pretend to be sages who knowingly diagnose people with a mental illness, but there are no mental illnesses, only individuals, each with a unique situation and story. If you want to help somebody, help an individual with unique problems. It's about making money. You can't make money without patients, so you have to create as many mentally ill people as possible to make money off them. At the same time, the world is going wimp. They're encouraging you to go see a mental health phony and get diagnosed with a fake mental illness. I don't know what is going on in the schools, but when I was a kid, we never had grief counselors at schools. Now I hear on the news, they send grief counselors in for the pandemic and for other things. This implants the idea that it's okay to see some phony therapist pretending they can help you somehow. You have to deal with whatever is ailing you by yourself alone. Nobody can do it for you. They can hold your hand for a few minutes and tell you some soothing bullshit, but that does not solve your problem. From the 1920s to 1973, they didn't have mental health drugs except for lithium, so they had to string people along in endless therapy sessions mulling about their pasts as children in order to resolve their so-called repressed conflicts. Then when they came up with mental health drugs, they pretty well abandoned psychotherapy and went straight to drugs. So now you got the mental health workers, the drug industry and the weak people all in this together in a mutually beneficial relationship, helping each other in their wimpy, lying, cheating lives, all of them. It's a massive scam. You live alone in your own head. Take responsibility for yourself. That's all you get in this life. That's it. You alone all the hours of the day. Every so-called expert out there in matters of life is a fake. There are no experts on life. You don't talk to somebody for a few minutes then put them in some box called manic depression or schizophrenia. The definition of schizophrenia is supposed to be irrational thinking. That's almost everybody. I was taught to think rationally via the rational thought process at military college. I can look at situations objectively by gathering the facts and deliberating on them. Most people are a loose mix of wishful thinking and emotions, so technically they're all schizophrenics. From the time I was a kid, just from watching TV, they were defining experts for me in every part of life. They weren't telling me to be a fully formed person who should deal with whatever happens to me by myself. Many TV shows had the doctor, psychiatrist, or psychologist portrayed as the wise person, so I grew up thinking they're smart people. Nowadays I know all so-called mental health professionals have no great insight into life. They took a bunch of meaningless courses at college that yielded no insights but got them the license according to the system. As far as medical doctors go, some of them can do great surgeries on trauma patients, but they've all been handily brainwashed by their medical schooling. Medicine is much bigger than what they teach in medical school. Medicine was hijacked in 1910 by the Flexner Report, which swayed all American medical schools to teach in a manner that promoted prescription drugs and eliminated all the traditional medicine that existed before then. There is no science behind vaccinations. If you don't believe me, go to the website drdi.com and see what she has to say. Go on bitchute.com and look up Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. Everybody is alone. You either have the guts to deal with your life and maximize it or live as a wimp. If you want to let one of these phonies pretend to have some great wisdom over you, you deserve your pathetic life. There is a thing called karmic duty. Something or somebody created you. Now you have life. there is a natural inherent responsibility to take this life and do something positive and useful with it. I feel good when I release my positive natural energy day after day. I'm hedonistic and gluttonous sometimes, but these things don't run my life. They add to a full life. If you want to live a good life, figure out how to earn self-respect and a good feeling day by day, then do it. The 1945 movie Spellbound with Gregory Peck on YouTube. This guy, Gregory Peck, has witnessed a murder, so he gets amnesia and impersonates the dead psychologist Anthony Edwards. The smart shrink Ingrid Bergman falls in love with him and seemingly figures out the murder using the biggest leaps of imagination called psychobabble psychoanalysis I ever saw. Stuff like this indoctrinates the masses to think that there is a legitimate science called psychology where they have deep advanced insights into life over what I as a lone individual contemplating my life can come to on my own, but they don't. My life is simple: to get up every day naturally inspired to release the natural energy inside of me given to me by my Creator at birth. Anything beyond this is someone else's bullshit.